Well, hello, my friends. Welcome to another Wednesday. I'm super happy to be here with my good friend Beth English. Today, we're going to talk about, a collaboration project that I did with Western Community College in Michigan, and I want to tell you the whole process of how we put this together. And I'm going to share, this with Beth, who's also no stranger to collaborations and to doing things, also with the community, because you might have something like this that you may want to do at some point. So we're going to give you kind of how I did it, how it went through, and it worked all really well. So Beth, how are you today?
I'm great. I'm excited about springtime and just all the new things that we have coming up. And especially, I saw you doing this project, and I just can't wait to hear about how it went.
So yes, it went really well, and that's kind of a lot of people have been asking, so how it went, how you do it, what were the different steps that you did? Did you have an idea what you wanted to make? So I'll do a quick story short how it all started. I was invited by West Shore Community College in Michigan to create a community project. In this case, I decided to do four large paintings, about 74 inches squares each, and to do it not only me painting live, but also working with members of the community who would want to come out and help out, and also the art students from the college. And we had only 2 days to work on this, and it had to be done and finished and look awesome, right? So the challenge was there, and it was kind of a lot of pressure to get this done. But kind of like as I look back, I think there were certain key points that I think we can have as a conversation, you and me, Beth, and kind of hear also your own experience on this, as you have also done similar things working with the community and projects. You and I think we love engaging with people. I think one of the things that kind of also ignite our energy, and so when the opportunity came, like, oh, I really want to do this. And so the first thing is that the first step, I think, was for me to approach it with a spontaneity. I didn't want to come in, although I could have come with a sketch out idea of this is what we're going to do. And then I will lead people into, okay, you work on this, you work on that, and you work on that. But I really wanted to get um, the involvement of those who were going to participate, to feel that they were also not only part of, okay, let's fill in the blank, but feel to be part of that, of the whole process of concept to finalizing the piece. And I think the only way to do that is to have to show up there saying, we don't have a plan, we're going to make it work right now. What do you think of, have you done something like what, that idea of bringing people together with that versus telling them, you do this, you do that?
I've done both ways,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to say, when you give people the opportunity to put their stamp on whatever you're creating, it
Mm-hmm.
definitely shifts the experience and
Right.
it makes it even more meaningful, I think, for the participants when they're part of the
Mm-hmm.
planning process. And
Yeah.
of course, painting in the piece is wonderful and so much fun, but the conceptualizing and the visioning beforehand, I think, is something that, especially when they're learning from you, is going to be so valuable to them as in the experience. So I think that was a good plan of action, to have
Yeah.
no plan.
I have no plan. Yeah. I don't always recommend it. As Beth says, sometimes it's okay to working with a plan. I have done many projects where, yeah, there's a plan because there's, certain things. But for this one was important to working with no plan. And to be honest, I tell to everybody, guys, I have no idea what we're going to make, but we're going to make something awesome. So that already raised the stakes right away. So the second thing that we did is, okay, since there's 4 panels, we're going to divide the group into smaller teams. So each panel will have 2 or 3 people working at a time. So we divided those who were there helping on the first day into teams of 3. So each one was in charge of that one panel. And that way also they felt like that was their panel, and that they had to
Mhm.
give it all, because it cannot be, less quality than the next panel, right? Or the next painting. So I think that also helped them to not only say, okay, we are part of this, but I have ownership of, this one that I have in front of me. So kind of like giving people a sense of ownership, also not only in the concept but also in the physicality of what they're doing. To say you are in charge of this section, I think is also something that was really special for them.
Definitely. I mean, you're just giving them opportunities to take responsibility and that in itself, like when you allow yourself to do that and then you follow through the process, you feel that sense of pride afterwards because
Mhm.
you know, I did this.
Right.
And so that's so great that you gave them that opportunity.
Hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. And so the process, the way it went, like what we did is the first step was, okay, once we had divided the canvas into all the panels, we stapled it to the wall. I had each team to create kind of a composition with just geometric shapes, which is how I start on my painting. So I showed them the process, so they all did that. After that, I had them, which again, using the process of how I paint of my paintings, all the figures in my paintings are life size. I usually kind of like silhouettes or sketches out of my own body. So I had them pose, for each of those pieces. And prior to that, we had a meeting and said, okay, what are these going to be all about? And we decided that since there were 4 pieces, we were going to make them into the seasons of the year, like, starting with
Mm.
winter, spring, fall. I mean, winter, spring, summer, and fall. And also looking at, the emotional aspects, the psychological aspects of each season. So then they had to come up with a pose, right, that would also reflect on what it feels like, each of these seasons, not only how they look like, but how they feel like. So I kind
Mm.
of like bringing them also into the conceptualization of what we were going to create. How you
I
like
think
it?
that sounds like you are a pro at this because you know how to add that extra sense of emotion, of feeling, of ownership, of like letting people express themselves for those who, you know, had their own particular season that they had to interpret. I
Mhm.
think, you know, individually as an artist, like working on those pieces is one thing, but also as a team, knowing that you're
Right.
bringing an entire concept to life, like that's another part of it, which I think you're giving them all these different elements that they
Mhm.
may not even know that they are experiencing, but you're building it into the process. And I think as an artist, it's important to understand the small and the large and all the pieces in between. And so I think you did a great job setting them up for doing something like this on their own or
Right.
creating a series of work with this experience behind them that's going to help them be even better. So
Mhm. And then
bravo.
thank you. And then the next step, or the final step, was the actual painting of it, right? So once we had the
Mhm.
layout, when we had the figures, and we have the space kind of worked out, then the painting. And what I did to accelerate the process to it, which is also something that I use a lot in my paintings, I use a lot of stencils for some of my series. So I brought a whole box of stencils. So I had them go through the stencils. I picked some that related to their particular pieces, and then start stenciling left and right. And that actually helped a lot of people who had no previous painting experience, who showed up, were walking by, like, hey, I want to be part of it. Hey, take a stencil and then just fill it in the blanks. And those who had more of the skill, I had them do more painter, other things that, included painting and so on. And then something that became really special the last day is or the second day, as I was looking at some of the students that came back for the second day and looking at their sketchbooks, they were showing me their art. So if I saw something that I like in their sketchbook, like, oh, I really like that, can you do that in the actual painting? So some of the elements that are in the paintings themselves are things that they come also from their own sketching that they had or their own work in the past. So that kind of helped to wrap it all together and give them a sense like, wow, that's not only something I work with the community, but that's something that I came up with, and now it's there for posterity. So I kind of wanted to bring this kind of process, because I think it can help a friend who may be watching this. If you want to do this, maybe you teach a class or with your students, or you're looking for a kind of a project that could bring them together, give them like that emotional rush of doing something that they can all be proud of. Hopefully these steps can help you out.
I think that those are great steps. You know, I did something similar to this where everyone's own work was
Mhm.
included in the
Mhm.
final piece. And that was probably one of the most meaningful projects I've worked on because everyone felt like they were a part of it. And it sounds like that's
Yeah.
what you were able to achieve as well. So good work.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So that's it, my friends. Hope you enjoy it. If you want to check it out in person, you'll have to go to the West Shore Community College up in Michigan. But you can find it also. It's posted on my YouTube and on my Instagram as well. And I'll be having some pictures here. So if you have more questions about this, feel free to reach out to me, through social media. I'll be happy to answer any questions. And before we go, Beth, where kind of friends can connect with you as well?
You guys can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Beth English. My website's bethenglish.com. And I would love to see you guys join the Nashville Creative Group on Facebook and Instagram. Just let me know what you've got going on in your art practice. I would love to hear from you. It's always so much fun to hear from the people watching these videos. And what about you, Sergio? Where can our friends learn more about what you've got going on?
And everybody can learn more about me at, all my social media, Sergio Gomez Art, my website, sergiogomezonline.com, and all my programs at theartistnextlevel.com. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next Wednesday. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. You don't want to miss it. Goodbye.
Bye.